Okay, quickly, I don't know if you can help Monsuru Olawale from Agbado. He wants to know, he said, please, I want to ask if there's any hope for me to get my PVC without my temporary one because it was lost, or should I go and register for a new one? Monsuru Olawale
I have said it here. First of all, if it's registered and he wants to know whether it's in the register, I've given the platform. You can go to voterreg.inecnigeria.org or even voters.inecnigeria.org. If you see your name there and you have lost your PVC, swear an affidavit and go with your card. Remember your picture is there. Remember your fingerprint is there. So we'll find a way to identify you and give you. But you must have an affidavit for documentation to show that you lost your PVC, or you lost your TVC. So it's not a big problem for us.
Okay, Mr.
For those who lost their PVC, permanent card, while registration is going on, we can now replace a damaged or lost card. So there's lots of other activities apart from registration. So, but if your name is on the register, please don't go back and register. That's an offense. Please don't do it. But get a replacement if it's a permanent card or if it's defaced. Get a replacement. It's been done now.
Okay, Mr. Uzi, we all know that there are challenges, security challenges in some parts of Nigeria. Talking about Borno, Yobe, Adamawa. What plans do you have for people in those areas, you know, not just to register, but of course, when it's time to vote, for them to be able to carry out this civic duty?
I think we already have a template of how we engage that in 2015. There are IDP camps, and we are doing registration. We did registration in some of those camps, and we created a way for them to vote in the last exercise. I think, but we must not lose sight of the fact that it's not only in the Northeast that we have serious issues. We are monitoring the situation all around the country. You know what's happening in Benue, for example. But in the Northeast, at one stage, the Air Force came in very, very handy for us. The urban centers had been liberated, but in between, the roads leading to certain local governments was a big challenge because the bandits were still ravaging those countrysides. So the Air Force was very helpful to us. We used helicopters, and they helped us with logistics in moving our personnel and materials to by airlifting them to the local governments to do those registrations and airlifting them back. So there are different ways we're engaging stakeholders and see how we can best serve the people.
Okay, so there's that conversation a great deal about the PVCs, and we have this tweet here from Ndu Metu, who says when he collected his own PVC, that he noticed that almost all the people there had more than one PVC each with the INEC officials, but they were given only one. And his question is, doesn't that explain the millions of PVCs you say are still with INEC that have not been collected? And why should INEC even be printing more than one per person?
Oh, thank you for this question. Let me say this. We are doing some work. We are doing, even as a commission, we are doing some research. And some of the things we are trying to find out is, did we do multiple printing? That is, genuinely, it's not that somebody registered twice, but when we are printing, we printed more due to pressure of work. Is a part of some of the work we are doing to find out. If it is possible, it could mean that some of them are still within the PVC that have not been distributed. Is a part of it. And they're all that one. So, my brother, it's not impossible. We could, for one reason, do some double printing. And if we do that, our staff will hold it and report back to us. By the time we finish, we'll now know most of those double printing, and then we'll reduce it from the number we've been telling the people. But it's in our thought, and we're already working on it.
Now, staying with you, Mr. Nwafo, recently INEC chairman talked about a collaboration with the NCC for transmission of results from one point to the other. Are you not concerned about hacking of these results, and how would that work?
Yes. Let me tell you that since 2013, we've been working on e-collation and e-transmission. That is, we want to collect the result and we want to transmit it. And we've been doing some pilots, and in every pilot we do, we see challenges and we try to solve it. We have looked at some of We have transmitted results here from polling unit. We have transmitted results from ward. And we have looked at it and see some challenges. We also have seen the positive aspect of it. It means it will be impossible to falsify a result and change the result. Now, why are we meeting NCC and NACHCOMSAT? We are meeting NCC because this for you to transmit a result, if it's not maybe pure SMS, you want to transmit it as data. You must have from 2.5G to 4G or even 5G that is coming. Where do we have this network infrastructure in this country? So, and the people who are using their backbone are the telecoms. And therefore, if we are using them, who is their regulator? NCC. So we had a meeting with NCC and we're collaborating, which will now bring in the telecoms for us to see. We need to see the footprints. We need to see where we have these networks. After seeing where we have these networks, what do we do to cover those that we do not have the footprints? Therefore, a matter of communication is important, and that's why we're working. Once you are going to transmit this result from anywhere, security comes in, hacking, an issue. I want to remind you that we transmitted using Carrier in 2015. We transmitted the authenticated numbers of those whom their fingerprints were matched. We transmitted them, and we took consideration of those security. So there are security issues, there are hacking issues, but the best way to fight security issues is to look at all options that can come and put safeguards and double the safeguards. And that's what we intend to do for 2019 if we are to use the system.
Also, you must be ordinary resident or originate from, be indigenous to the where you need to register. Ordinary resident there, so you should be in that locality as well. And then there must be no legal hindrance to your registration. Those are basically the main things for registration. I'm sorry, there's a second question on the political parties.
It's about what you expect, yes.
Yes. Well, we just finished from a meeting a couple of days ago with the political parties, and I think they were told, basically they must cooperate with the commission. They must ensure that all laws, all processes, all regulations and guidelines are complied with. We expect, most importantly, internal party democracy, that they must stick to the tenets of their constitution and the constitution of the land. You must ensure that you comply with what the law provides for. You must ensure that hate speeches, your campaigns are devoid of hate speech or things that would divide us as a people. Basically, just obey the laws of the land. Don't sponsor thugs. Don't do anything that will heat up the polity unnecessarily. And those kind of ideals, they're more than ideals. They're legal requirements. And so we take them along in everything that we try to do. We don't dwell on the punishment, but
the activities of INEC, their responsibility and INEC's responsibility. And this can also be applied to the political parties as well.
Well, political parties are only 68, so we keep harping these things on them. We meet with them regularly. We've done training sessions for them. We've told them about the need to mainstream women in their decision-making processes as candidates. We've told them about mainstreaming PWDs, getting the youths involved. We also engage them in party finance. We build their capacity. We have trainings for their women leaders, trainings for their auditors, to build their capacity, and even their legal officers. We have planning things for them so that ensure that that awareness is there. For 73 million registered voters, that's now a very difficult thing. We try to use the mass media. We use different platforms. We use social media. We use the mass media. We use electronic media. We use town hall meetings. And you can never tell people enough. And we are talking to this band of people. The other band are missing out. We do market outreaches, for example, in the South. That's very effective to reach the women folk. Advocacy visits to traditional rulers and things like that. All sorts of things, depending on the locality we use. So it's a mixed bag of different platforms to try to reach many, a cross-section of children as we possibly can.
You use all this cross-section of tools, social media and all of that to try to educate the public. And yet you just said here that some people still tend to miss out of all these awareness activities. How do you think that would affect those that need to register? Is it not possible that still some people will be disenfranchised if we continue this idea of you must show up physically for you to be able to register? can't, what are the other options?
That, first of all, I don't think anybody will be disenfranchised, but you must show up to register. That's what the law says. So we cannot do registration by proxy or any other means. If the law changes, then we'll look at it and see how we can do about that one. But the law now says you must show up in person to register. And that's why the law doesn't actually, for example, prohibit people in the diaspora from registration. But it says you must come to Nigeria at a designated center and register. You must also come to your polling unit to cast your vote. So you cannot do electronic casting of votes now. You cannot do it by proxy. You cannot do it in any other way. Some countries have that, but in Nigeria, and that's important because see you, see me kind of a thing is what we like. We want to see things, verify things, and say if 100 people came to register, 100 people came to vote, don't tell me that 20 or more people voted by post or by electronically or something like that. The law doesn't allow those things for now.
Okay, so when will this registration close? And is there a timeline to when people can also collect their PVCs?
Oh, certainly. By law, the registration must close 60 days to the election. But we must allow sufficient time for turnaround time for us to display those list of registered people. Because by law, we must display list of registered people. As Engineer Chidi has said, the reason for it is that if there are any objections, it's for claims and objections. If there are any objections, say, look, this man is not in Nigeria, or this person is under 18 years old, you raise it at that stage so that it gives the first opportunity for people to do that. Also, when we give the political parties 30 days to the election, we have to publish that. It also gives the political parties, they can also raise objections to anybody who's on that register. This person is not entitled to vote. And furthermore, collection of cards, because of the huge number of cards, the commission will come out with a particular date. It's not fixed by law. We must come out with a date where we say, look, this is the last day for collection of cards. Thereafter, if you don't collect your cards, you cannot use those cards for the 2019 elections. But we'll communicate and give wide publicity to that.
Thank you very much. Indeed, we have a lot of comments coming in from Nigerians out there. Plenty of it, talking about the INEC processes and the elections and all. But that's where we'll have to let it go. Chidi Nwafo is Director ICT, and Oluwole Osaziozi, Director of Voter Education at the Independent National Electoral Commission. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts. Sunrise will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.